Welcome to Mary Walter Radio, the DroneCast. This time it is not it's a podcast, but it is a DroneCast. And I have some guests coming up that will be joining me. First, I just want to say, please, if you have not done so, please subscribe to the page. I would appreciate that. Please like the podcast, hit the up arrow. Appreciate that greatly. It definitely helps. If you watch any of the older podcasts on YouTube or even Apple Podcasts or Spotify, look for Mary Walter Radio on both of those. Please like them. I would appreciate that. It helps me out. And I appreciate you. Thank you to Zach, as always, for being our biggest fan. Thank you to EB for doing all the graphics. He did the DroneCast graphic for this show today. I want to just thank Mark, new subscriber, Ed, new subscriber. Thank you for the comments, Isaac and Dwayne Dietz. That's interesting because we have another, maybe it's a relative, but different people leaving comments on the podcast. I appreciate that, and I try to get to them as much as I can. If you are new here, if you are watching on YouTube or on Getter, you can leave comments or questions, and I will put them up on the screen as we go along, and then our guests can react to them or answer any kind of questions. And if you are watching on Getter and you leave a comment, it doesn't automatically come up on the screen, but I will read your comments. I don't get to all the comments just because people who are listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, it's a little confusing to them to just constantly hear us be interrupted by comments. So I do try to be a little judicious with that. So I am broadcasting from the wonderful People's Socialist Republic of New Jersey. And you probably know this guy. This is the IT department is here live from my kitchen. Hello, IT department.
Hello.
And this is our friend Ken Dietz. Ken, do you have a relative named Dwayne?
Not that I know of.
No,
Maybe.
okay, well, all right. He liked the last podcast, so I thought maybe he was a relative of yours. So Doug and Ken have known each other through flying forever, and Ken's lovely wife, Sherry. The four of us have become very good friends, and they're hilarious and fun and crazy smart and kind of dorky, but that's why we love them. I gave Ken a T-shirt once that says, "I'm adorkable," right, Ken?
Yeah, I should have worn that tonight.
You should have worn it, exactly. So we want to talk about what's going on in New Jersey with the drones. And one of the things we do, Ken, is we take questions and comments from the people who are watching. So we do a little roll call. Bill's here, Hermit's here, John is here, Oreo, watching your back. Ron and his cats checking in from New Jersey. Gregory commenting on the music. I finally remembered what this music reminds me of. Ken, I thought you would really like it because it's a Mozart polka mashup. I had an LP entitled Switched on Bach that somewhat sounded like the music that's being played. That's courtesy of Ron. Sure, South Jersey squad present and accounted for. Gregory here. Okay, Dan Seidel. And Porchview Farm says the drones. Okay. So let's talk about what is happening in New Jersey. This has been going on since about December 2nd. So what happened starting the beginning of December? Now, first of all, let me tell you, both Doug and Ken are pilots. They're both private pilots. Doug flies for the Coast Guard Auxiliary as well as for fun. And Ken and his wife, when I told you like they're adorable dorks, they're like super smart, they built their own plane. I'm excited if I manage to put the Christmas tree up. They built their own plane, and Ken was flying his own plane, and we're going to talk about what happened when he was flying his own plane this weekend. But I want to ask each one of you, Ken, you go first. What do you think is going on that started around December 2nd, like the month of December? What do you think is happening?
Well, I think a lot more people are looking up in the sky than used to.
Wait, you're very, you gotta up your audio.
I said, I think a lot of people are looking up in the sky who never used to, and probably seeing things they might not have seen before. But yeah, I mean, you know, it seems like there's something going on. Something people are seeing things for sure.
Okay, IT.
You know, I think it's now December. I think it's started to become the War of the Worlds type of concept. Okay, I'll turn that down in a minute, Mary. more the war of the worlds type of concept where people are thinking about these things and they're looking, and everything now is a drone. I mean,
Right.
we know where we live in, Ken, we always talk about those helicopters that used to come over your house at about 800 feet trying to get into the airport in bad weather. We have a steady flow of traffic here that we're used to. And I think people who are not in these traffic patterns didn't realize how much there is. I was actually trying to pull up, I don't know if I can, I have to log off and log back onto Chrome, but to share my, how many planes are in the air right now over New Jersey. There's actually 4 planes flying around South Jersey right now.
Yeah, that's a good point, Doug, because you say December 2nd, and at least up here, we've had a lot of big wind out of the west, the prevailing wind, but it's gotten really strong, and maybe flight patterns have changed, and they're bringing planes in lower, stuff like that. I know. Last night they were bringing Peterborough traffic in low over Flemington, and some people were getting some pictures of stuff, and it was obviously biz jets going to Flemington. You could see it. So,
all right, let's see. Jerry says the drones are a psyop. When we are all fearful enough, new laws will be enacted as we relinquish more freedom. Dan says, so we just never noticed all the air traffic. We didn't start to notice it until December 2nd.
I think, yeah, like I said, Mir, can I try to share something here?
Yeah, go ahead. Can you do it?
I'm going to try.
Okay.
Share.
Ken, we're in uncharted territory. First of all, there's 3 of us, which every now and then we have, but Doug trying to share something, our guest trying to share something on the screen. I don't know if this will work. We'll see what happens. It's very exciting.
I'm not going to attempt that.
Okay, wait. Okay, here we go. Here it is. Okay. Can you guys see that?
No.
No.
Oh, wait, hold on. I can put it up. Hang on. Don't touch it. There it is. There it is.
All right. So this is all the traffic over, New Jersey. Those are the 3 airports in the city. Here's the Black Hawk helicopter. These are some military planes coming out of McGuire. There's Philadelphia. The traffic has been there. I think a lot of people just haven't realized it because they don't look up.
Okay. All right.
But patterns do change seasonally, right? So the wind changes in the winter, and ceilings and so on, and they change the patterns. So it might have just coincided with some interest or something.
All right. So
and the other thing I was going to say is that now we're in this dry, clear nights. I mean, other than this rain we just had the few days, humidity is low, visibility is much further, and you can see more. And if you stack 5 planes that are 30 miles away from each other on end, they can all look like they're very close, and you lose perception.
well, didn't we have a very dry summer with pretty much low humidity, right? And we didn't see them. It started December 2nd.
Yeah, but there was haze. There's haze in the summer.
Yeah. Visibility is much better in the winter. Much better.
All right. So you 2 are sticking with it's nothing. This is normal traffic. This has nothing to do with anything out of the ordinary.
Well, I think we could talk about drones, and so I educated myself in the last 48 hours and know a little bit more, but there's probably a few more drones out there, but I don't know about hundreds or however many people are thinking might be there.
All right. So let me get to some of the questions here. Why didn't the Air Force bases scramble 2 jets to intercept? Well, maybe they knew that they were just regular planes, right? What is that? Could you guys
I think you've got some people out there that I've seen videos of that are kind of being drone hunters, but they're sitting there with displays like I have up, showing, I think that's a drone, and no, that's just a small business jet, or it's Ken's little silver plane that is probably barely larger than what they describe some of the drones to be.
Yeah.
All right. Dan says the drones surrounding and following the Coast Guard vessel in the ocean. What about that? The Coast Guard claimed there were about
Coast Guard
13
guys,
that followed them.
Listen. I think something's going on. I don't think it's as people are saying, again, because I think they don't realize the amount of traffic we have normally in this area.
Yeah. Speaking of that, Gregory says it's a miracle that there aren't more collisions. Yeah, it's very true. Rolling with the Punches is here for the first time. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you being here.
Hey, Roland.
Dan says drones flying information coming in from the ocean. Is that normal flight patterns?
Yeah.
Well, like you said, though, if you have, and we've seen it, okay, if you live near a big airport, you've seen this, you can see them one after the next, after the next, after the next, and they're far out there, and they're all following the same path coming in. And they're at certain intervals, whether they're coming into JFK or LaGuardia or Newark, you see the same one after the next. And I don't know if that's what they saw. I don't know if that's what the Coast Guard saw. I have no idea. I wasn't on the boat, so I don't know that. But I can see. Go ahead.
I think, and Doug can weigh in, but I mean, the optics of everything are far different at night. So, you would think like, oh, it's hard to see things at night, but it's exactly the opposite. Planes are, at least when you're flying or when you're looking towards the sky, planes are extremely visible. The lighting is very bright. Even on private planes now, the lighting's gotten much better. So you can see things at a tremendous distance, and you get into optical illusions at night because your mind plays tricks on you. Just there's several optical illusions, right, that pilots suffer from, as far as things looking bigger and smaller and closer and farther. So that to me explains a lot of why things are being seen at night.
Yeah. Okay. You know what, Ken, tell everybody what happened to you. I'm going to run upstairs because there's something I want to play, and I have the sheet upstairs that tells me when to start this. So what Ken, you're going to see him. He was on NBC Nightly News. Who do you have waiting to call you? Inside Edition is going to be calling Ken. So we're very lucky to have him here right now because something happened to him this weekend, which is why Ken is a very wanted man. This is part of his 15 minutes of fame.
Yeah.
So I'll be right back. Ken, tell everybody.
Sure. So yeah, I'm a private pilot, and for 35 years now, and just getting back into it with this plane that I built. And one of the things you have to do, the FAA says, before you can carry passengers at night, is you got to make 3 landings. And Saturday, the conditions were perfect. Moonlit night, clear, no wind. I said, let me go up and do this and make the FAA happy. So I was in the process of doing that and going around the airport where I operate out of. And on one of my orbits, I got hit by a laser in the cockpit, and a green laser. It bounced around inside the cockpit. It's a little disorienting, and then it went away, and I went around the pattern and landed. It didn't hurt me or anything. But I had been watching all this stuff on the news, on news and on the Facebook, and I said, let me just make a post, because the local Facebook page for my town, there was a lot of talk about this, and I just kind of posted to try to get to people aware of what was going on. I said, hey, if you hit what you thought was a drone with a laser, half an hour ago, that was not a drone, it was me, and it just took off. It's gotten, I don't know, 300 comments, and it's been shared 100 and something times. It just, I guess I went viral. So yeah, that's what happened, and I reported it to the FAA. I haven't heard from them. I doubt I will. I mean, this happens. It's happening more. The FAA, says that it's getting more prevalent. I just assumed the person that did it thought I was a drone. That's an assumption I made, but I think it's a decent one, because there was a lot of talk like, oh, we got to do something about these drones, take it into our own hands. The government's not doing anything, so let's fight back. And I think they were fighting back at me.
But for people that don't know, that's a big deal though for a pilot. Yeah. Like getting hit with a laser is a big deal, because the whole cockpit lights up, and you lose your night vision, and it's hard to see the instruments, and you can become very, very disoriented. And the reason I think your story is so important is because people need to take a breath. Because I'll tell you, I'm watching TV with the IT department there, and they'll have something on one of like ABC, NBC, CBS, and they'll show drone picture taken by someone, and he looks at it and goes, "Oh, that's a blah 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 plane," like whatever. And I don't even hear it anymore, because he knows. He just says these things like with all these fun facts about planes or whatever, and I just go, and and he'll go, you're not listening. I'm like, no, I'm not. But sure, honey, that's a plane. So, or that's a helicopter, or whatever it happens to be. Now, all of that being said, I want to get to some comments, and then I'm going to play you guys. I want to get your take on this. I want to play the Belleville, New Jersey mayor was on Fox 5 this morning, and I'm going to play you what he said, because I had seen this comment going around. It's been almost 2 weeks now. But first, let's just get to some of the comments. Porchview Farm says, I can see dullest planes at night. Growing up in Cleveland, we'd go to the airport for something to do. Yeah, that's Greg, is there some point at which these drones are required to be equipped with a transponder?
Yes. Yeah.
Are they all supposed to be equipped with a transponder?
Well, so my knowledge is on civilian drones up to 55 pounds. I haven't gotten any further than that. But so the law is that if a drone weighs more than, it's just a little over half a pound, so all but the tiniest little homeowner drones, they have to have remote identification equipment on it, which is not quite a transponder. So civilian planes, particularly, all planes, particularly in close to New York, I guess you're inside the Vale, right, Doug? Yeah. So where you are, planes in that area have to have a transponder that broadcasts a lot of information: the altitude, the location, the identifier of the plane, all that sort of stuff. And that is we could go into that, but that's one system. But drones have to have an identification system that is much more limited than that. It's very short range, and from what I gather, is just there for law enforcement to find out. So I guess if somebody flew a drone into Giant Stadium, they could find out what that drone was or something like that. It's not transponders in the sense of plane to plane or aircraft to aircraft, that sort of thing. It's more just an identifier.
Gotcha. Good
so
question,
essentially, drones are invisible to the classic radar system that we use in aviation.
Right.
So with drones becoming more popular, isn't that a hazard, especially in an area like this where there are so many planes in the air? Because we have the big three airports, right? But then you also have a lot of little airports. You've got Teterboro, you've got Wall, there's tons of little airports that fly a lot of corporate jets in and out.
Right. So it's the National Airspace System, right? And it's all built on altitude and where different aircraft go. And drones are supposed to stay below 400 feet. And small aircraft, except maybe helicopters, should rarely be below 400 feet unless they're landing or taking off. So that's the way the separation's supposed to work. There's no real reason to fly a drone that high.
Well, I'm not good at math, but don't you have to go to 400? Don't you have to go through 400 feet to get to 9,000?
Right. So yes. So then there are restrictions around airports, but you need to get through 400 before you get away from the airport. we're not supposed to be below 500, 1,000 over a populated area, whatever that means, right? So we ought to always be 100 feet from them unless we're taking off and landing.
Gotcha.
As it's
All
supposed
right,
to work, right?
if you're just joining us, please subscribe to the channel. Please like the podcast. Don't forget, audio is available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Just look for Mary Walter Radio. And if you do, please like them. Manglemush, a regular, says, that looks like a Gretsch guitar on your wall. Nice.
Mandolin.
That's a mandolin. He's in his
Not
wife's
mine.
office. You're in your wife's office, aren't you?
I am.
Yes. Rolling with the punches. This might sound crazy, but we must acknowledge the competency of U.S. authoritative forces in the USA. But what if there was an underground army in eastern tunnels that have been planning this? Wow. I got to tell you, I never had, if you ask me my 2024 bingo card, I did not have slee stacks with drones on my 2024 bingo card.
Yeah.
Come on, if you didn't laugh at the slee stack comment, you're too young to be watching this podcast. And Ron, who lives in northern Jersey, well, north of us, says you get to know the normal paths when you live near an airport. That's true. So when you see something outside of the normal path of the airport, maybe that's what people are commenting on. All right. Let's see. Dan, I grew up in West Hempstead under the JFK flight patterns and lived in White Plains for decades. Also 2 minutes away from WP Airport, HPN. Planes, jets, helos were identifiable. These are not those. Okay. Blue Rooster says it's a mandolin. Good eye, Blue Rooster.
Correct.
Are any of the drones being flown below 400 feet? I think weren't people complaining that they were like right above the trees and hovering above their houses, which seems to be lower than 400 feet. So, I mean, if that's true, if what those people were seeing is legit, that would say to me that it's a drone, right? Not an airplane. Right?
I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah. Ken, let me ask you this, because right, if you're flying a drone, you can't. You're restricted from flying it over private property, right? Are you? I should ask, since you're.
I didn't read that in the training.
No? Okay.
So that wasn't in there. So I don't think so. I don't believe so.
Okay.
So I think the big change, and I wonder if we're just starting to see it more. It was only in April of 21 that they legalized flying drones at night. Before that, you weren't supposed to fly drones at night. And so April 2021, the rule changes. They made a lot of changes in April 21. That's when the remote ID rule came in, and they added the ability to fly at night. And I'm wondering if it's taken 3 years for drone companies, drone users to figure out how to use them at night, what it's good to use them for, that sort of thing. That's a theory. I don't know.
And they all figured it out on December 2nd.
Well, maybe so.
I'm just playing devil's advocate. Ron says laser hits are the government's fault for not addressing the drone thing. I think he's right. When the government doesn't tell you, when the government tell you, this is my problem, is they tell us that don't worry, it's nothing, it's harmless, but we don't know what it is. You don't know what it is, then how do you know it's harmless and that it's nothing? Both can't be true at the same time, because if you don't know what it is, you can't tell me it's harmless and that it's nothing. So they must know what it is, or they don't, and they can't tell me that it's nothing. So I think like people get crazy when they're not told the truth, and they're like, this is going on, I'm seeing this. And I think there's also a little bit, Doug, you mentioned this, like the hysteria, the world's aspect of stuff that comes on, right? Where people like, oh, every light they see now in the sky, right, is a drone. Oh, it's a drone. Every light's a drone, when it could be a reflection of a street light. It could be pictures that they took. It's just a reflection from a lens or something, or from a window because they took it through a window. So I do fault the government for not being a little bit more transparent, or at least acknowledging what is happening. Sal, it seems to me that the federal agencies are merely pointing fingers at each other. Besides responsibility and accountability, the agencies need to show wantability. They want to have to do something. Yes. Oh, a new viewer, Jay Morselli. Anyone noticing the lack of low-flying single-engine aircraft in the Tuckerton and New Gretna area? The skies have been dead except for the high-flying aircraft. So, Ken, after what happened to you on Saturday, you keeping the plane in?
Well, I flew today.
But during the day, you flew.
Yeah. I don't. You know, it's funny because one of the commenters on my Facebook post said, you know, do you really think it's wise to be flying at night with this hysteria? And you know, because I'm adorkable, I did the math on, you know, what it would take to hit me in motion, and I don't know. I feel pretty good about it. You know, he was suggesting that I'd be shot down, and since I don't think anybody has a German 88, you know, in my neighborhood, I'm probably okay. But
you do live out in the sticks, Ken. So
yeah. I'm waiting for the flak to start going off near me. But no, you know, I don't know that I would make 5 circuits around the pattern like I did on Saturday night again, because it gave people time to get angry at me and so on. I actually did have a lady reach out to me, and privately, and she said, "Oh, were you flying over such and such?" And she gave me a street address, and she said, "My son and I were there at the time you're talking about, and we saw a drone." And I said, "Well, no, you didn't see a drone. It was me." I said, that's where I was at that time, and there was no drones up there with me, because I would have seen them there. You know, if you saw the lights, I would have seen the lights. So, I don't know. No, but I'm still gonna fly. I mean, that's what I do.
Yeah. Because I know the IT department was talking about taking out, going. I don't know. He walked away. He's working. Okay. He was talking about taking the plane up and then chose not to. Right? You were going to take the plane up and chose not to, right?
Yeah. It's just one of those things. I was going to say, well, if there was those couple of nights where they were coming in over Island Beach State Park. I'm like, let's just do a couple circuits up and down the beach. And then I'm thinking, wait a minute, when you become part of the problem from part of the solution, and all of a sudden, like you said, they people sitting on the beach starting to decide to take pot shots at you.
That's what exactly. That's the problem. He had said to me, I'm like, because I'm too lazy to bundle up because it's cold. I'm too lazy to bundle up and go stand outside and stare at the sky, right, to see if there's anything coming in off the ocean or anything like that. So he's like, of course the IT department's like, well, we could just take the plane up and we could just go flying around. And look, I'm like, I just think we're looking for trouble at that point. He goes, yeah, but we go with, like, what did you say? We're like at six. What did you say? Like 600? I don't know.
No, I go up higher.
Higher. That's what it was. And then we could look down on the drones. And I was just like, I don't think it's necessarily the right thing. We have
the inertia. We could dive down onto them.
Yeah.
Well, I got caught up in the hysteria. I think Thursday night I was coming home, and I saw, some bright lights over the house, and I wasn't sure they were moving. It looked like maybe they were stationary. I said, "Oh, I bet that's one of them," And I pulled out my phone, Flight Aware, and I'm like, "Oh, it's a helicopter heading westbound. It's just normal stuff." So I haven't seen one. I know people have seen one. I haven't seen one.
No, I haven't either. I feel somewhat left out. It's like when the IT department missed the earthquake. And he felt really left out.
Oh, I did. I hated that.
He was so mad. He missed it because he was driving and didn't feel it. And then I was like, oh my gosh, did you feel that? And he missed the whole thing. So I feel that way with the drones, that I'm missing out. Let's see. Dan, low flying helos bring down a wash with them. Always felt them. Even complained to the FAA. Got reports of police choppers at 283 feet, 200 feet. Do drones leave a downwash pressure?
Probably nothing you'd feel. I mean, the biggest civilian drones are like 55 pounds. So, they're not big enough. I don't think.
Well, but the real big ones that they're talking about, like these things are huge, supposedly.
I saw, so I was out at an air show this summer and I saw a man, well, it's not a drone because it's got a person in it, but you know, a quadcopter that had a person in it. And that was wild. I mean, it flew like a drone, but it's the size of, I don't know, it's like 10, 12 feet long. It weighs enough to pick a person up. It was pretty impressive.
So what do we make of the guy? There was a man in New Jersey who says that he had a drone up and he was chasing one of these drones, and it went over, I want to say Picatinny Arsenal. What are
Yeah.
it was Picatinny Arsenal. His drone demobilized, like his drone was shut down,
Oh,
but the other drone kept going.
different frequency, different band, something like that. Yeah.
But could they, when you're going over a restricted area, you know, there's a way to I would assume, to disable the drones. And he said his drone, like battery, but the whole bit done. His drone was down, but the other drone didn't stop. So I wonder if it is military, there's a way for them to do that. Got nothing. All right.
You know, most commercial drone or commercial end user or recreational drones, right? They're flying based on commands they're receiving from you. So you have to have a radio link, and
Right.
jam. If you have a drone that is flying autonomously and, you know, it's got a set flight path in, if it's doing surveying or if it's looking for radiation and they pre-program something into it, yeah, it could do that. Or like Ken said, you know, they could be on a much different frequency than the regular frequencies. I mean, I'm sure the military has things where they know, I'm going to assume there's probably reserved frequencies for drones. So basically all the drones are in a close frequency band.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Porch View Farm made my night because she loves the Slee Stack, so I feel vindicated.
And we're off.
Yeah. Wow. Rolling with the Punches wants to know about drones and orbs. So I'm pretty sure that my two science guys here do not subscribe to the whole orb thing or anything along those lines. I know Ken definitely does not. Ken's an all facts kind of guy.
I am.
He is.
I think a lot of those are poor focus. You know, when you're zooming in with a zoom lens, your depth of focus is very, very short. And it's very hard, especially now with newer cameras that are auto-focusing to focus. I mean, I've tried that at night with even just a 200 millimeter zoom lens. Everything gets distorted very quickly. And also you get, especially with digital lenses, there's a term for it, but the light can bounce around inside the lens because the way it collects light. If you look on these lenses, they're darkened on the inside to try to reduce this. So I think a lot of that may just be the optics of trying to take a picture in a suboptimal setting of darkness.
Yeah. Portia, what about those kids arrested on Long Island? Were they in tunnels? I have no idea does anybody know what she's talking about? I got nothing.
No.
Nope, we got nothing on that one. Scott says drones are flown from a controller or they're on automated flight path. That's it. Are those the only two options?
Well, so in the Part 107 training I did, you had to have a pilot for everything. Now, I don't know if that means that the pilot can oversee something that's automated, but you had to have a pilot for, not for every drone, but you had to have a pilot that was responsible for every drone, because they were worried about what they call a flyaway, right? So there is a situation where the thing just goes off on its own, and that's a big problem. So you had to have an observer, all that. So I learned all this.
Ken's retired. Can you tell?
Yes.
Let's HLE Adina. Oh, you look beautiful today, Mary. Thank you. I do think this administration knows what the things are in the sky. Anything they say, the truth is usually the opposite. Yeah, I think we feel that way about the government in general. Oreo, government snowballing America just like the Chinese balloon. See, that's the other reason why I don't buy anything they tell me. Because they kept telling me it's just a balloon. The Chinese lost control of it. It's just flying on the wind. They can't help it. And they're like, wow, it's moving south. No, the wind's not going that way. And then, of course, when they finally let it traverse the entire country spying on us, they're like, yeah, that was a spy balloon. Oops. So we all saw it. We all knew what it was. So I agree. April says, yeah, they absolutely know what it is. They just don't want to tell us. It's probably bad. I don't know if it's bad. I don't know if it's bad. Not a sum of all fears type of incident. I don't know. I haven't seen Sum of All Fears, so I'm not good with movie references, especially if they're like military. So I've got nothing there.
I got
Yeah, I
nothing
forget
either.
which
Sorry.
one that was. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I forget which one that was. That was one of the Clancy books. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sal, I fear that this will be a shut up, pay your taxes, and don't ask questions situation. April said, we had some unusual drone activity in downtown San Diego last night. It is spreading across the country. So let me go to this. I want to go to the New Jersey mayor here. This is the Belleville, New Jersey mayor. I have relatives live in Belleville. His name is Michael Mellum, and this was him this morning on Channel 5, Fox 5, New York's Good Day New York. And here's what he had to say. And I have to share it, don't I? So let me present. Sorry, guys, I should have share screen. That's it. Share. Okay. Okay, and here we go.
Radioactive material in New Jersey. What do you hear?
So here's what I know. I know that we were told by our state police that we have assets over our critical infrastructure. Now, depending on your point of view, that's either concerning or comforting. I think it's comforting because it's probably us listening and watching. We also know that we have drones that are flying in a grid-like pattern. In my opinion, they're looking for something. What might they be looking for? Well, potentially, we're aware of a threat that came in through Port Newark. Maybe that's radioactive material. There was and there is an alert that's out right now that radioactive material in New Jersey has gone missing on December 2nd. It was a shipment. It arrived at its destination. The container was damaged and was empty. So
Okay,
potentially
wait,
we're looking
stop
for
right
that.
there, Mayor, because that's very important information. And that came from a credible source.
That came from the U.S. government.
And so it's missing.
Missing.
And they think it's in New Jersey, or it could be anywhere.
It was lost in New Jersey in transit. And again, this is just an example of what I think that we're sniffing for. I think we do have the assets that can go up and fly around and sniff things, which is why we're not seeing the uptick we used to see in Belleville anymore. It's kind of moving, but we're seeing alerts that it's happening now in Pennsylvania.
And that's right about the time that the drone sightings began, right?
Yeah, drone sightings began about 4 weeks ago.
Okay, so when you...
All right. So there you go. Now, I had heard this. I saw a guy on YouTube. It was a TikTok video, that was on X. And he had said just this, that there was a package, there was radioactive material that was being shipped to New Jersey and it disappeared. And so they do have drones that if they're low enough, they can sniff for things. And that's what they're looking for, either a heat source or they're sniffing, looking for this radioactive material. And so I'm like, I'm like, okay, I don't know who this guy is. So I didn't bring it up, didn't talk about it on the shows. And then the Daily Mail carried the story. Now Newsweek carried the story. Now this guy is on Fox 5. So more and more people now are carrying this story, but the government's like, no, there's nothing. But that would make sense as to why it's spreading west and south if they're looking for something. And I'm not saying it's radioactive material, but I'm just saying it would make sense if they're looking for something. It would make sense. And that's why they're telling us, they don't want to tell us that, hey, by the way, we lost some radioactive material, because people will flip out. Right. So they're not going to say anything. Like, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's just, it's planes, it's helicopters. It's not drones. That's kind of what the government does. And I kind of get that they don't want to tell people if they lost some radioactive material.
Right.
Go ahead. What do you guys think? Weigh in.
If you think about it, if you're out sniffing for radioactive material, putting a drone up is a pretty good idea. You know, you're keeping a person out of harm's way if you were out, let's say, in a helicopter. And I guess in theory, before this got as crazy as it did, a drone is going to be a little less noticeable than a helicopter flying very slowly at a very low altitude, taking readings, or, you know, having a Geiger counter hanging out the window with somebody's.
Some guy with a Geiger counter hanging out the window.
We should see if anyone here sees a drone, listen to hear if they hear a clicking sound, you know, like it's a Geiger counter.
We'll see those guys on the beach, you know, they look for the stuff, the guys who are on the beach who are always digging up this, they're looking for treasure. Okay, Ken, I can see your face. What do you think?
I don't know. I guess it would depend on what kind of radiation and how far it goes. And it just seems to me that if it was missing and it was not something nefarious, then maybe you could find it. But I mean, if I had this missing radioactive material, well, I guess I'd just put it in a lead box and nobody would find it. I don't know.
See, so here's, I have a couple thoughts. If you don't know what you have and you start getting really sick, that'll teach you not to steal someone's garbage off their porch, right? That'll teach you not to be a porch pirate, because that's the negative right there. Don't steal people's packages. The second thing, seriously, if you're going to mail something of value through the mail, at least get return receipts so that you can track it somewhat. That's it. Or use FedEx or UPS. But
I think you have to check the box that there may be hazardous material.
That's right, exactly. But here's the other thing. I don't think, if the package was supposedly damaged and the radioactive material was missing, it's just weird that, I don't know, I would think that that's something that someone would want, because if you accidentally damage the package, you wouldn't take it. What, do they just throw it away maybe? Like there's a postal worker somewhere who like has all of the mail, you know, every now and then you find like a dump where like some postal worker just dumped all their mail that they didn't want to deliver anymore. There's some guy in Jersey who's just dumping all the stuff he doesn't want to deliver anymore. Oops, I've got some radioactive stuff in there. And dumping it in Jersey is pretty good, because all three of us grew up in New Jersey. So we can survive the radiation because we drank well water from a hose our entire childhood. So I think there's a certain amount of radiation that my body can handle, more than like the average Joe.
Well, I remember a story. There was, and I think there's been several out of like the former Soviet Union, where they had different radioactive things. They had these like radioisotope generators, and they had nuclear medicine. That it was some sort of like cesium source in a device. I don't know, Doug, if you saw it, but it ended up in like a scrapyard somewhere, and people were coming to the hospital, and they're, you know, finally they put it together. Like all these people were coming with radiation burns, and they were in some scrapyard in Bulgaria or something. I don't know, but I guess stuff goes missing. You know, it happens.
Well, I know you hear about it. The government, they're shipping radioactive stuff by truck. It's not marked. And you know, it has a chase car behind it, but it's not like there's 20 cars with lights and sirens on it. They move this stuff pretty discreetly around. And I'll tell you, we have time, Mary. Can I tell us a quick story?
Oh yeah, you got time. Go ahead.
Okay, so at where I work, they were putting in a piece of equipment for treating cancer, and it uses a radioisotope. And the going story is that this is pretty high grade radioactive material, and theoretically could be used at least as a dirty bomb, if not as an actual nuclear bomb, if it was treated properly. Well, they closed off 3 streets, okay, and they bring it. I think it, it looked like a flatbed truck came in, looked like it was delivering toilet paper. And they took this stuff off of it, and once it's placed, it's kind of bolted in, so it's not easy to get out, and it's behind all these secure doors that are always monitored and stuff. But then they didn't finish the installation, so late at night, 8 or 9 o'clock, I had to go into work, and I go in the back entrance, and there's a guy sitting there in a chair no exaggeration. He's like in a dark suit at night, 9 o'clock at night with sunglasses on. And I kind of joke with him and I go, you look like a Secret Service guy. I thought he was one of our security guys. I think it was like the Secret Service, because since the material wasn't secured yet, they were guarding it overnight until the guys came in the morning and finally secured it. So they were keeping a pretty good, in my understanding, it's, a piece of stuff this big, but they were keeping a pretty good eye on that. So I can't imagine if something was on a rail car that there wasn't somebody kind of keeping an eye. Like you said, I don't think it was in the back of a FedEx truck or it was sent USPS and got lost.
Well, but you don't need much. The Daily Mail story had said it was indeed medical waste, and it was germanium something, I think, because I thought it sounded like geranium, but it was germanium, whatever. According to the Daily Mail. But I take it all with a grain of salt. But this is the problem with the government just not telling us, because then you get all these stories. And now I just thought the government came out and said, no, we're not looking for radiation. It's in Newsweek. The mayor of Belleville just said, no, the federal government told me that we were told by the government that this is what they're looking for. And then they come out and they're like, no. It's not nuclear waste, and it's not radiation. That's not what we're looking for.
Maybe they found it.
Yeah.
The search is over.
It's in like an aqueduct, an aquifer in New Jersey somewhere. All right, Dan. Ken wants to know, what do you fly? A 4-seater, single engine, high wing, low wing? What do you got? Each one of you. Ken, go first.
2-seat, single engine, low wing.
Doug, IT?
Single engine, low wing, 6-seater.
There you go. Let's see.
Mayor, can we quickly say hi, Mayor?
Yes.
We'll say hi to Brenda and Steve are watching.
Oh, are they any one of the people weighing in here, or they were just watching?
I think they're just watching. I don't know. I just saw my phone. It's on silent.
Oh, I didn't even know that they watched. So they're here for Ken. They never watch me, but they watch Ken. Fine.
Exactly. What can you do?
Gosh, can I have to have you on more? The star power, it's just drawing new viewers. We do.
No, I'm at like 1450 in my 15 minutes here.
Well, we do have new viewers tonight. Ow.
What'd you do?
Ow.
Your shoulder?
Ah, crap. Hold on, my ear thing fell out. I went to grab it. Ow.
So for those of you who don't know, Mary had surgery on her right shoulder 2 weeks ago.
No, it's almost 5.
Okay, almost 5 weeks ago, but clearly not completely healed.
It's very hard to get injured podcasting. I mean, that's...
You didn't know podcasting was a contact sport.
No, I jerked my arm back really fast.
But Ken, Ken, you know Mary well enough to know if anyone's going to get hurt on a podcast, it's Mary.
I mean, it's possible parts will fall off here. I mean,
no, I just had all the parts. Everything's been newly tied back on and secured. And you should see my pictures. There's like bands and bows and ribbons and all sorts of stuff. Some of it looks like a hair scrunch, like a hair band thing. Like it looks like a thing like that.
We can rebuild her. We have the technology.
That's right. Maria and Craig jumping in here. Long live the Queen. Thank you. Ron said, our illustrious Governor Murphy said they quote, go dark when state police try to track them. The drones. See, if the governor's coming out and saying, Governor Hochul, they had to close Stewart Airport, right? Up in, what is that, Orange County, Doug? That's up in Orange County, guys? I think somewhere, Westchester,
Stewart.
Orange County. Yeah, they had to close it for over an hour because there were so many drones in the airspace. They had to close the airport. What was it? Wright-Patterson had to close because of drones in the airspace.
I think they made some arrests in that. I thought I heard that they made some arrests.
They should make arrests when it comes to all this.
Well, unfortunately, now you're going to start to get the, you're going to start to get the copycats. You know, people are going to start taking out their drones thinking they can start to do stuff and get away with it. And it's just going to start to escalate because, well, look at what people stream nowadays, stupid stuff.
Yeah. Oh. And in which case, it's probably males in their late teens, early 20s. Omnicast says, I like your IT department. He might be a bit overqualified.
Yeah. long as the stream stays up for the podcast, we on time and she stays up, that's more than being qualified enough.
Mango Mush says, I still keep saying the drones are a subversion to keep us distracted from what the government is really up to. Dan, in law school, my buddy had a license. We used to cut out and flew for an hour or two, $40 an hour. We'd fly 140s or 180s, low wing. Safety was at a few thousand feet. The drones are not small planes.
He's given up his age at $40 an hour.
Yeah.
How much is it now?
Oh,
Ken is probably $40 an hour for his planes.
I paid $180 to fly an RV-12, $180 an hour for 2 seats, 4 gallons an hour it burns. Yep.
And
crazy.
Doug, what does it cost you?
Oh, probably with everything in, probably over 200 an hour.
Oh,
yeah.
You need a cheaper hobby. Ron, my sister was driving and missed the earthquake too. So there you go, honey. That should make you feel better.
Oh.
Sal, DHS Mayorkas gave us one of his reassurances that everything is fine. Given his track record concerning the border, his reassurance is like Civil War Confederate States money. It's no value. The drones are from Area 51. They're too sophisticated. Barry's here late again. Yes, you are, but that's okay. I'm still happy that you joined us, Bear. I'm just trying to go through some of these. Rolling with the Punches is down with the armies in tunnels. I don't know. I got to tell you, I have not heard this. Here we go. Sal, the media has become the drive-by media with gangster reporters. They won't properly report or honestly until they have no choice. And I think the media is part of it because if it bleeds, it leads. And so if something's exciting, look at Ken. Ken, you're waiting. He's waiting for Inside Edition to call. Oh, let us know. Like, do you know when your Inside Edition hit is so we can all watch?
I don't know. I'm still waiting to hear.
But see, when something bad happens, it's exciting and it's a new angle to the drone story, right? So they want to keep it going because it's something, and I think that he's right in that sense. Porchview Farm says, yes, the kids were flying drones. They were wreaking havoc. They were found and they were just arraigned. So yes, those kids were, Jerry, 2 people were arrested for flying a drone in Logan Airport's airspace outside of Boston. The operators were found on an island about 5 miles from Boston called Long Island.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was confusing the right Pat story with that one. Yeah, it was Logan. Yep.
Okay. And that Long Island is New York, Long Island?
No. It's out in Boston Harbor.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rolling with the Punches says our country will rue the day they consciously decided to dumb the citizens down. I'll be dead by then, so I'm pretty much okay with it. So I'm good with that. I'm sure millennial drones use speed spectrum. Military drones use spread spectrum.
Agreed. Yep.
I don't even know what I know. Like what 3 of the words in that sentence means.
Mayor, 220, 221, whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes. That's why Ken's here. That's why. Did you understand that, IT department? Did you understand?
Well,
yeah. Okay.
Shirley's trying to get in the closet behind you.
Oh, really? Oh, that's Oliver.
Oh, it's Oliver.
Hey, bud. Daddy sees you. Cracking greetings from Poland. Hey. Hello, Poland. That's great. Okay, we're going to wrap this up. Sal, if these drones are Chinese, then maybe the Chinese told Biden to leave the drones alone for now. Well, he did allow them to fly the spy balloon across the country, so there is that. Tools, it looks like Uncle Doug needs to. It looks like Uncle Doug, uncle to the pickleball superstar. The IT department's nephew is nationally ranked pickleball professional, gets paid, and will be traveling to India to play in February.
Did not realize India was a hot spot for pickleball, but
no, who knew? But they got a lot of people, so I guess. I mean, if he was going to like England, I would go, but I don't want to go to India. I have no desire to go to India. Like, I don't think I would like the food. So I went to England and did like.
You don't like people.
It's too many of them over there. Kraken, I have no idea what you said there because it's written. Ken, you should get Sherry. She's partially Polish, right?
Yeah, let me get the Google Translate.
Yeah, translate that for us, will you? Oh, you're not really doing it. I thought you were.
Oh no, I'm not
actually really doing it.
Sorry.
I figured, don't tell me you're going to do it, then not do it. See, now Oreo says, I think that could be correct. Missing radioactive materials. They're looking for it for a dirty bomb of some kind. And remember, can I just say one more thing? Open borders. We've had open borders for 4 years. Imagine what has come across the borders, north and south, that we have no idea what's come across. There's been people on the terror watch list who have come across. We have how many thousands of Chinese military age men? And last time I checked, China doesn't just let you out of the country because you're like, you know what? I'm just not feeling it in China. So I think I'm going to go to America. China doesn't just say, sure, go. That's not how it works. But yet we've got tens of thousands of Chinese military age men walking across the border. So if someone wanted the drugs that come across the border, if it's easy enough to get drugs across the border, it's probably easy enough to get radioactive material across the border too. You just cross where there's no crossing and you walk right in, especially from the north. It's super easy from the north.
You could fly a drone probably.
Yeah, you probably could fly a drone. Exactly. But I'm bummed. Misled. That guy's referring to something that came out of the 12th of December, long after the UFO psyop. I have no idea.
Oh no, the model of my plane is a 12. That's what I think that might have been the confusion.
Came out of the 12th. Oh, okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
So if these I'm not even reading that, Barry. Craig, in the trade, the sniffing drones are called Bidens. Okay, come on, that's funny. Jerry, Geiger counter, Doug, that's some serious IT right there. All right, we're gonna be wrapping it up here. Dan says, I have an inspector alert Geiger counter. Do not laugh. I got it after Fukushima putting my battery back in. You can come to New Jersey and wander around. Let's see. Manglebush had Manglebush. They're talking about what he had to eat for breakfast. Rolling with the punches. The Queen. Yes. If you're new to the podcast, my name is the Queen because our #1 fan, Zach, just calls me the Queen. So it has to be the Queen. I can never change it because Zach watches every single podcast over and over. So it has to be the Queen. Again, please subscribe to the channel. Please like the podcast if you have not done so. Go back and watch older ones. We have all sorts of different guests, sometimes no guests, sometimes not political. We have had directors on, True Crime Podcast, Lauren Conlon, try to get her back. She's going away until after, then we'll have her back in the new year. So we'll have her on too. So please like the podcast. Dan, cheap crap white glazed coffee cups made in China register about 100 CPMs on the Geiger counter. That's hazmat design. What would they register at 400 feet? I guess you shouldn't drink out of those, right?
Doesn't sound like a good idea.
No, I'm kind of with you on that one. I'd probably pass.
It's kind of like back in the 1700s where they were drinking out of the lead and couldn't understand why while their teeth were falling out. They were drinking out of lead cups, remember?
Well, they were doing that in Flint 5 years ago.
It's true. Well, no. Do you see what Scott's saying here is that saying a drone has a pilot is ambiguous because they're not a pilot unless they're recognized as such, because anyone can fly a drone that doesn't have to be a real pilot. Is that true? Anyone can fly a drone and they don't have to be a pilot?
That's not very limited what you can fly as a non-pilot now. So you have to get a drone license, which is not like getting a full pilot's license, but part 107 is the FAA part for drones, and certainly if you do anything commercial, you have to have a license, and you're pretty limited on what you can do as just a hobbyist.
All right. Let's see. Dan Herman says, I'd rather consult an hourglass than trust the government agencies to tell me what time it is. CPMs are counts per minute. Normal background radiation is between 15 to 30 counts per minute. Next time Ken flies, bring a Geiger counter. It's more, there you go, Ken. Well, the Ken and Doug sometimes fly together. So one of you can fly, one of you could be the pilot in charge, flying left seat, and the other one can open up the little window. Put up the little window.
Doug loves his gadgets when he's flying, so I can see him with the Geiger counter out the window.
Absolutely.
So true. It's so true. Okay. All right. We're wrapping it up here. Yeah. Remember this? I remember seeing the documentary on workers who watched nuclear bombs, and they were tired, dumb, and overworked. Armies in the tunnel as possible. Do you remember? Didn't you ever see the movies about the atomic bomb testing, and the soldiers are there and they got the glasses on watching it, and like the wind's blowing past them and all the nuclear stuff's blowing over them, and they were watching it all. Yeah. Hello to Kraken being welcomed by everybody. UPS delivered me some uranium instead of my wife's Christmas by mistake. Hey, Suze. Speaking of Suze and Manglemush, just everybody, very quickly, my schedule. I will be I'll be in for Andrew Wilkow tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday, I'll be on Sirius Patriot from noon to 3. Friday, I will be on PHT's morning show with Nick Kale. It's me and Nick on Friday, 6 to 10 a.m. on WPHT. And then, of course, on Monday, I'm in for Breitbart Morning on a Sirius XM Patriot. Then I'll be on the Chris Salcedo show. And then I will be in for Rob Carson, noon to 3 for Rob Carson on Newsmax Radio, and then TV for Chris Salcedo. So that was really confusing. But I post it all the time. Follow me on X at Mary Walter Radio, and you'll know where I am because I have crazy schedules coming up. So, all right, we're out of here, guys.
Wait, also, you're not doing a show the next 2 weeks. Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, right?
Oh, Christmas Eve. Yes, that's right. Oh. Well, if I can put it together, I will. Oh, no, we're going to be at my brother's Christmas Eve. We're going to go see him. So we're definitely not Christmas Eve. Maybe New Year's Eve, because I am working till 7 New Year's Eve. 7, 3, something like that. Well, we'll see. Yeah. We'll see.
But definitely not next week.
Dan says, I know the rotator cuff repair pain. It can be bad. It sucks. And he also, when you said how old he was, because he remembers $40 an hour, he says, I'm 69. $200 an hour. Ouch. CSD UFO update says, hello from Colorado Springs. Oh, we're getting ready to get out of here. Ron says, I remember the time you fell off a chair on WCTC. Yeah, that's true. I did. On the air. Remember when I fell off the chair on the air?
Okay, everyone. She's all mine. Okay? Don't anybody be moving on. Ken, I see that look in your eyes. She is mine. Keep your distance.
It was up high, and I was just I don't know, and I just went boom, and I went straight back and fell right off the back, boom, right off the back of the chair. Oh. Thanks, Ron. I appreciate you bringing that up. Welcome to the IT department. All right, everybody. Manglemush says, pickle this. Colorado is being seen a lot of UFOs in Colorado Springs. I would think you see them there all the time, though, right? Isn't there an air base in Colorado Springs? Isn't that like a big air base?
That's the Air Force Academy is in Colorado Springs, right?
Yeah, so that's why.
Cheyenne Mountain.
India is great. We should be going earlier. Oh, Herman Sal Mary, you tweeted earlier that your cat peed on your keyboard. I suggest you teach your cat a lesson by peeing in his litter box. She's elderly, and I had been smelling. I said to Doug the other day upstairs in the stairs, I'm like, it smells like cat pee in here. I can't find it. I'm like under the desk, like where? Because she's old. She's like 17. So I'm like, where? And then all of a sudden today, I'm sniffing. And I was like, oh, and I picked the keyboard. I'm like, oh my God, she peed on the keyboard. Oh. So yeah, we buy poof by the gallons. Fentanyl is the new chemical warfare. We don't even know it. Okay, we're out of here, guys. John Doe, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us. A lot of people running in late. So listen, you can watch this back. I will edit it down. But thank you, everyone. Merry Christmas to everybody. This is a really fast show. Thank you. Thank you. Since we will not be on, I can't believe next Tuesday is Christmas Eve already. Wow. But I will post my schedule on X, but I will tell you when's tomorrow, Thursday, Friday. I am in for Andrew Wilkow on Sirius XM Patriot Channel 125. And Friday morning, I will be on WPHT with Nick Hale doing the morning show. And then after that, I will post it everywhere. A very, very, very blessed Christmas to everyone. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas if you celebrate and you get to spend it the way you want to be able to spend it. And thank you so much for joining me. I will do my best to do a show on New Year's Eve. But who knows? Maybe we'll just do like an hour. Why not? We'll see who wants to join us, and we'll see if we get Ken's fun when he's had a few. So maybe we can do. Allegedly, yeah. So Ken, thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you. Please give that wonderful wife of yours a big hug from me. IT department, when you're out of here, feed the cats.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, guys. I'll see you guys. Bye, everybody. Again, thank you so much, and have a wonderful, wonderful Merry Christmas.